Welcome to another episode of Dad Can We Talk? I am your host, Anthony Ray, and this is episode 124 of Dad Can We Talk? Before we get started, I want to give a great shout out, big shout out to my people at TriTech, our first sponsor for the podcast. TriTech is they have a online course that helps you to become a certified sterile processing technician. Their course is online. It's $800. You pay $100 up front, and then the rest of the tuition is paid throughout, I think it's monthly. So if you're looking for a different career, you're looking for something different, just to do, you want some more money, you might just be bored of what you're doing right now, go to tritech.net and learn more about the class that they offer there. Shout out to my people at my man Mike Peter Barber. He's I just created his website for him, man. I told him that I was gonna make sure I shout out him, man. He's been one of my partners, man, ever since we met. You know, we've been like this, and I just wanted to give him a shout out. So y'all go check out my man Mike P the Barber at Mike P the Barber with DA Doug Barber.com. And y'all go purchase some of that good old beard oil. Y'all know I ain't really got a beard like that, so it ain't gonna really work for me. And he also has some good hair oil for people that got hair. I'm bald head, so his products won't really do me too good. But I have tried his hair oil, the one that he has specifically for people with hair. I tried it on my bald head, and man, it felt so good. And it smelled good too. So, so man, y'all listen, go to MikePTheBarber.com and go check out my man. You can set up your appointments there and everything. So y'all go holler at my boy. But y'all know, before we get started, also go to YouTube and subscribe to Dad Can We Talk at YouTube. I was looking at some of my stats today, and I was a little surprised, honestly. I mean, I don't have that many subscribers. I got like 253. I had like 253 when I looked at it. And I've been trying to get to that 1,000. And I looked at my views since I created the channel. And I had like maybe 6,300. So over 6,000, and over 5,000 of those views were from people that were unsubscribed to the channel. And I'm like, man, if I only had like at least half of the people that have tuned in to subscribe, I would be all right. So obviously there are a lot of people that's watching it, that's tuning in, but they aren't hitting that subscribe button. I always say, man, the easiest way to help someone that has a YouTube channel or doing stuff like this, man, with the podcast, the easiest thing is to hit that subscribe button. It's easy. I mean, all you're doing is hitting the button. So yeah, man. I did see 6 people after I posted about it. I did get like 6 people that went and subscribed. So appreciate all my dogs, man, on Facebook that did share the post, and they're looking out, supporting, man. So y'all know I love y'all for that, for real. But without further ado, man, I'm here today with the brother that I met some months ago. I got invited to this. It was like a play called Child Support up in New Jersey, and the woman invited us out to have like a panel of fathers to talk about fatherhood. And this guy was on the panel with me, and I loved a lot of the stuff that he said. He seemed like one of those people that's almost like me, just love. He just seemed very transparent, about things that he had going on within his own self, with his dealing with his own, fatherhood situation. And I knew I wanted to get him on, so that's where we are today. So he's a Philly native, and man, if anybody know me, y'all know I am the biggest Allen Iverson fan that you will ever find.
No, that's what's up.
Literally. Yeah, like literally, like that was like my idol growing up. I had the braids and everything before I had the bald head. I used to have fro. Yeah, I had all the little design braids and all that. I had the arm bands, the head bands, the socks, the little finger bands he used to have. I had
Yeah.
it all the I3 gear. And so every time I see someone from Philly, man, I'm like, yeah, these my people right here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm a Florida boy through and through, it's something about Philly that I just always I loved. And that trip that I made up there, man, to Jersey, it was like literally like a dream come true for me. And when I crossed over that bridge into Philly, I was like, oh my God, bruh, this is my place. This
Yeah.
is it.
That
So
was
it
your
was,
first time in Philly?
bro, that was my first time up north, period, bro.
Oh,
Ever.
that's crazy.
Crazy, bro. And it was like all my life, I always like, and I wanted to go to Villanova. Like,
Mm.
that's like my school that I've loved ever since I was in like middle school. So like for me, that was like everything, bro. Like to see the city, and it was beautiful, bro. Like all
Yeah,
of it. I seen all the dirty parts and all. I went walking, bro.
for
I
sure.
went walking through West Philly and all, man. Just riding the train, rode the subway for the first time and everything. And I'm like,
Okay,
damn.
that's really what's up. You really got the full experience then.
Yeah. Only thing I didn't do, bro, I didn't get a cheesesteak while
I
I was
knew
there.
you was gonna say that. I knew you was gonna say that.
Yeah, it was so wild, bro, because I was supposed to get one right before I came to the play.
Uh-huh.
And I got caught up. Like I caught a Uber somewhere to this one place. It wasn't open,
Mhm.
and I just got lost track of time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be late to the place. The Uber took a long time to come get me. I'm trying to get some food. I'm like, oh God, I just
Mhm.
gotta go. And I ended up not even getting one, bro. Crazy.
Yeah, well, next time you come, we can make sure you get a John and make sure it's also not like one of the commercial Johns like Geno's or like Pets or something. I'm gonna make sure you go to a spot where it's a legit John.
For sure, for sure, man. That's what the Uber driver guy was telling me. He told me he did mention the Genos. I didn't. He
Mhm.
told me not to go there. It was another one. It was named after a road out there, like a street name. Because I saw the street name when I was walking through the city, and when he named the
Good.
place, I was just on that street earlier. But
Mhm.
yeah, he
That's
told me.
crazy. I don't know that John.
I can't think of it, man. If I had it in my phone too. If I ran into it, I'll send it to you on the ground.
All right,
But
then.
yeah, for sure. I definitely enjoyed it, man. Just to go out there and just to see the city, man. It was beautiful, bro. For real, for real.
Yeah, Philly is a beautiful place when it want to be.
Yeah, yeah. So man, y'all welcome to the show, man. My man. I want to make sure I'm saying it right, bro. I
Mhm.
gotta make sure. Shamor. No, is it like Shakoor, right? Like
Yeah.
two. Okay, Shakoor. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I don't want to miss. I don't want to say my man name wrong. But so
Yeah.
y'all know, like Tupac Shakur. My man name is Shakur. That's cool, bro.
Mhm.
I like that. So y'all welcome to the show, my man Shakur Woodson. What's going on, bro?
Chilling, nothing much. Happy to be here too. This is like one of the ones that I was excited to really do for sure.
For sure. Yes, sir, man. So, man, on the podcast, I always start off with the first question, man. With the same first question. So that's how we gonna do it today. So, my first question for you is, what was your relationship like with your dad?
I ain't had one.
Mm,
Uh, my dad wasn't really in my life at all, but it's crazy. So at 7 years old, I started to be like rebellious to my mom. Like, yo, I want to like live with my dad. I want to like see my dad. I want to like do this, all these different things with my dad. And she was like, your dad, my mom always kept it like real with me. She's like, your
yeah,
dad is not somebody that I want you to be around or whatever, but I'm gonna let you also get your own relationship with him. So he lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, around that time, and I made the transition over there to just it was just me and him. But he was moving around, dealing with females. He had like a girlfriend at the time. She had a daughter, and their relationship and dynamic was weird because I literally like watched him. I seen in real life the stuff that my mom was telling me about him. Like he was like wildly disrespectful to his girl. He made her daughter feel uncomfortable. And one morning at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard him like fighting real bad, and he was like wild and like knocking stuff off tables. And we literally was like on a police chase in his car, like going towards his friend crib. And we stayed at, and I vividly remember this, like we stayed at his friend crib, and they had this big ass dog. And I was
Yeah.
so scared, gang. Like I was terrified. And I'm like, uh, yo, I don't want to be here no more. Like I said that to my mom, and she was like trying to like still like tell me to like give it some time and all of this stuff. And then I just kept getting homesick because before that it was just me and my little brother and my mom. It was just us three all the time. And I was like, yo, I want to go home and be back with my mom. So after like a year and some change, I got sent back home. And after that, I ain't talked to him until I was like 16. So fast forward like 11 years. And he just popped up at my mom's crib. And I vividly remember this too because my mom called me and I was leaving basketball practice. And she was like, your dad here. And he was in the room in my mom crib talking to my brother. And I remember being like irate, like I was furious. I was like, yo, what you want? Like, what you doing here? And he basically was saying like he wanted to like get back into our lives. And he like came to my basketball game, like he seen me play ball, and he was like chilling for the most part. But then he started having conversations with us about like, yo, if y'all don't want me in your life, I don't have to be like, this got to be a joint situation. And I'm like, man, you could save all that. I like you the parent. Like, what do you mean it's a joint situation? Like you was the one who didn't like be in my life for the time that you wasn't in my life, and then you try to make it like it was my mom's fault. You try to make it like all these different things, and I built up another like part of resentment for him because he started to make like my brother feel emotional and like he wanted to like fight him. And I didn't want that for my little brother, and I didn't want that for even my pop in a way, because I didn't think that it would be beneficial for neither party. And ever since then, it's never really been no type of contact, no type of nothing.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's wild. Dang, yeah, that's serious, man. How long has it been?
Well, I'm 29 now, so I ain't talked to him. Crazy part is, I did talk to him in like 2018. He got my number from my grandmom, I think, and he was telling me how he was trying to get his life together. He was going to school. He found out that I was in education, and he was telling me about that, but that was really short lived. So
Yeah.
I won't know that. Yeah, that was 2018. So it's always like these hiatuses of like 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years.
Sheesh. That's wild there, man. Were there like any other guys that stepped in, like any other role models or anything, people that you looked up to that stepped in like in his place?
Yeah, so my first ever basketball coach, his name John Till Swift. Like I tell people, like if I had to call somebody my dad, I would call him my dad. And he was the one who introduced me to basketball. He introduced me to problem solving. He introduced me to a lot of different things. He introduced me to like some of my lifelong friends that I have right now. And we got a deep connection, a strong connection. And whenever like I feel some type of way in terms of fatherly things, he like the first person I think about calling.
Mm,
Um, one of my only old heads. I got two old heads for real that I like call my old heads. My old head, his name Jeezy, and one of my old heads named Siwa, and they both pops. Like they both dads. And
mm,
I just admire how they father. Like no matter what, through any adversity in like terms of whether it's not being with their baby mom, having like other responsibilities and jobs and businesses and stuff, they always find a way to make sure that their kids are at the top of mind. And my brother Deej, we like the same age, but he don't got no kids. But one of my brothers, he is their goddad, and he passed away, I want to say 2 years ago. And the way he god dads is how I would want somebody to god dad my kids, but also how I would like he's also like a father figure in my life on how like I want to continue to be a pop myself. No
Mm,
matter what, he always there for like new events and things like that. He I don't even know how to explain it for real. Like you just got to see it for yourself. Like he is a amazing dad, and he don't even got kids, and it's so crazy. And
mm,
the last person is like my little brother. He got a daughter, and how he is a father is it like make me emotional sometimes thinking about how good of a pop he is, because he really is trying to make sure that he don't do the same stuff to his daughter that our dad did to us.
mm,
And those people really carry a lot of weight in my eyes in terms of being a father.
mm. Man, that's real. Now, that's some real stuff there, man. And I love to hear stuff like that, man, because you know, I grew up without my pops too. Just being there, being present. And it's always so important to have those other people that, will step in, just or not even step in, but people that you can look up to, just
Mhm.
they might not even know it sometimes. They might not even know that you're even looking up to them like that.
Right.
Like my oldest brother, like I don't think I didn't tell him until we were adults,
Mhm.
but I always looked up to him just as a man, period, just as my big brother. And I hated him growing up, like for real,
Right.
because I felt like he was that father I needed, but he grew up just like me without, I mean, he was working with what he could work with,
Mhm.
but I still looked at him like, man, like he's like the closest thing that I do have to a pops. And then when he had his first child, and I saw how he was being a dad, I'm like, man, that's really what's up, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
encouraging. But I never said it to him until like years ago. We just had this talk like around the time when I had started the podcast, and I'm like, man, Brock, I want you to come on the podcast one day. Uh, and I just went to telling him all this stuff. I'm like, you might not know, bro, but I looked up to you, bro. Like for
Yeah.
real, like you were really that person for me. And I think for him it was like, dang, I ain't even know that. But it's always good to have those people, man. And shout out to all the men out there that step into those roles, because you just never know. I say it on a lot of the other podcasts also, like, but we just never know, who's watching us. We never know who's looking up to us.
Yeah.
So and like you say, even when he didn't even have kids, it's like you might not even have a child,
Yeah.
but there's people that look up to you, man. So it's so important for us to be those examples in the community, man, because we
Thanks.
growing up in the places we grow up in, bro, like we need that. We need that, bro.
Absolutely.
Real. Man, how did you get into what sparked your interest into getting into education and stuff?
Well, when I was in school, I found out I was having a kid. And I
Ooh.
was like, yo, I could put school on pause. You know what I mean? I got to go get some money to make sure that I provide for my daughter. And I had a friend that was like helping me out with a lot of like life stuff. And she showed me this like agency that like placed you in schools. And
Mm,
at the start of it, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna like utilize this opportunity to just make sure I have a steady foundation of bread coming in, and wherever it take me. And I've always been like working with kids though, and not like knowing that this could potentially be my calling. Like I've been a camp counselor since I was 14, up until this
wow.
point. So I got into the school and I started like just doing stuff, like making sure that like my job was one like okay, like I was like a one-on-one, and I was making sure that the kid was cool. But I started to learn like the ins and outs of reactionary discipline, social and emotional like learning and tools like that. Because then I got placed into a emotional support learning classroom, and like the kids were like wilding, and I didn't like know what this type of stuff was. I didn't know anything about an IEP or 504 and those things, so I started to learn. And I'm like, all right, this is something that I probably could like have success in, because I had like natural raw abilities to like man a room of kids, making sure kids like transition in lines properly, and like all the like little nuanced tools that like a dean of students like possesses. So I started to like continue to like grow my game and like that stuff. Like I took a real liking and had the dean of students in that building mentor me, and the emotional support learning assistant teacher was like a really good friend of mine. Like we developed a strong relationship, and ever since then I've just been like a fiend to learn about education and about how I can make money from it, how I could help my community and things like that. And then the school lost its charter, and then at the same time they was gonna try to like bring me on as a full-time employee at the school. And after they lost their charter, they was like having to get taken back over by the district. And with like my lack of credentials, I knew that wasn't probably like a spot for me. So I started doing all these different interviews and things like that at different places, like charter schools, private schools. And I landed in Camden, New Jersey at Kip Whittier Middle School. And I was there for 7 years, grew my knowledge and uh, everything all the way down to like curriculum stuff, leadership stuff. I became a dean of students. I was a gym teacher there at a point. Like I founded the school actually with 7 other people. We was the founding staff with our first 5th grade class that's graduating high school this year. And I just been in education since, and I feel like it's my calling. Like a lot of people now know me for just being in education, know me as like trying to do things in terms of education. And I truly feel like that's what God put me here to do, is just to help people, and in this way.
Wow, man, that's so encouraging, bro. And the reason I asked that, man, because over the last few years, man, I've been having a lot of people telling me, man, you should get into teaching. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm straight. I'm
Yeah.
good, But like I've done a lot of youth mentoring over
Mm-hmm.
the years. And honestly, I just don't think that the teaching thing would be for me. But I do see myself being like a guidance counselor. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I love kids, bro. Like, and especially those high school type age kids where they're
Mm-hmm.
about to transition into life.
Right.
And you know, and so I've been going to these career fairs over the last month. I've been to 2 so far. Got another one coming up next month. And just being a part of that, like going out there and talking with these kids, I'm like, man, like I feel like I would love to do something like this, to be able to talk with them about, you know, choosing the right path, like
Yeah.
understand, your interest and all of that. So
And a lot of
man,
people don't even know, sorry to cut you off, but that's teaching too. Because a lot of the
mm,
times we don't, for real, I don't know a lot of schools that have the type of courses that our community would benefit from. And that's like, again, all the way down to understanding taxes, understanding like the real world things, and also understanding that every action of yours has a reaction or a consequence in the real world. And there's a lot of people that don't look like us that are just teaching by the book, teaching to the test. But people that look like me and you are giving them the real deal, what they need to know outside of here. Because at the end of the day, the kids that I service look like me and they are me. I don't want to service nobody else. And that's my prerogative. That's my right. I want to service the kids that look like me because I never had a Mr. Woodson. You feel me? I
wow,
never had somebody to tell me the real deal. I just had a lot of people trying to move me on, push me through, and things like that. But that's teaching in itself. Like you're not going through a lesson plan, but you're giving somebody game on what it means to be a productive human being in society. You're giving them game on what it means to be a good father. You're giving them game on what it means to be a black male in America. That's teaching, gang.
that's real, man. That's so real, bro. And that's wow. I think that give me a lot of answers to a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about lately. And because like that's like sometimes I'm like, I can't do certain things. I can't do this, and this don't seem like it would work. But that make a lot of sense when you break it down like that. Um,
Mhm.
because and I think a lot of those kids need it. Expect like I look at growing up, bro. I probably had, bro, from middle school, shoot, bro, my whole entire school career. I think I've had 2 black men teachers.
I had 0.
Wow, crazy, crazy,
Crazy, right?
man. And that's the stuff that I look at. I'm like, man, and I'll never forget the one black teacher I did have in high school. He was a history teacher, 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably the one that challenged me the most to open my mind. He was the one to teach me how to think critically about things that I see. And he used to
Mm-hmm.
always tell us, like, don't believe everything you see on the TV.
Hell
And
no. Don't.
man, and back then, that's all I kind of knew. I was like, oh, okay. And he showed us a video on 9/11, and he was like challenging us on that. And he like, I mean, this is what the media showed you.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at it from this aspect. And from that point on, I'm like, dang, so people they lie? I'm like, I thought the news was the news. He like, man, listen, they're gonna show you what they want you to know. And from that point on, bro, like he introduced me to NWA and Easy E and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and he was so real, man. And I was like, dang, this man really like the only teacher I ever known that like really kept it real with us in that class, man. And I just never forget that. And ever since his class, like I've always been a person that I question like everything. Like, man,
Everything.
they lying. They lying.
Yeah.
I know that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously,
Like
man. But
I definitely challenge every status quo. Like that's a part of like who I am. Like I don't believe that some of the stuff that we're told how to do it and how it should be done is the way to do it, because I've had success doing things other ways. So I always challenge like the status quo every time.
that's real. That's real. In what ways do you empower and support your students to navigate and challenge systemic racism and injustices that they may face every day in their lives?
Just how like we were just talking about, that was a great segue. Like I tell them like to challenge everything
Mm,
and do it in a productive and healthy way though. Don't
mm,
be an asshole and just saying no and doing like what you want to do, but have like real life conversations with your teachers. Have
mm,
real life questions to ask when somebody's telling you 2 plus 2 is 4, but so is 1 plus 3. You
mm,
feel me? So is 3 plus 1.
mm.
So always try to always be innovative with your thinking, and always challenge things in a healthy and productive way. And I sometimes don't even do that myself, but I definitely push that on my students to make sure that they don't just take things for face value, like get deeper into it.
Mm. No, that's real. How old are your children?
My daughter is 9 and my son is 6.
Ooh, good. And then good ages, because mine are 10, 8, and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, mine older than yours, but man, so right now, something that I've been so my kids were in private school.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my oldest, she was in for like 3 years, and we had to transition her out when we moved where we are now, and we had to put her into the public school system. It was just beneficial for where we were in life at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to do that. And now that she's there, so she's in 5th grade right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the um the 5th grade here in the town that we live in, the middle school has 5th through 8th. So she has started middle school this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we live a certain way in our house. We hold certain values. It's different than what a lot of people are. And I think for her coming from that private school system and now she's into this middle school system, she's kind of like she's having trouble Like the other day she came home from school, she was crying. Like she just went straight to her room, and I'm like, she'll never do that. So I went to the room to go check on her. I'm like, what's going on, baby? Yeah, you ain't even come give me a hug. She was like, she didn't really say anything. And I was like, you all right? And she just started crying. And I'm like, what happened? Like something happened at school? And she was like, I just don't have any, like, I feel like I don't have any friends, like she's like, everybody else has a lot of friends. And I only feel like I'm the only person with like one or two friends. She was like, it was so much better at the other school and all this stuff. And she's just crying and I just hugged her and just let her know, like, like it's all right, it ain't the end of the world. I mean, you go to school to learn, really. Uh, the friends and stuff will come, but I'm like, honestly, when you don't follow the crowd and you're different than other people, a lot of times you won't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like that's just not something like that's just a part of life, when you don't talk like everyone else and everyone else is cursing and they're going crazy and talking about all this crazy stuff and you don't want to be in those conversations, just naturally people won't, you just won't have friends. I'm like, it is what it is, baby. I mean, I'm like, it ain't like you don't have any friends because I see you
Right.
with your friends. And just helping her to understand that and just helping her to understand like being different. You know, she's a little introverted, I think. Like looking at her personality, I'm like she makes friends, and when you know her, she talks. But I think when she's around people, she really don't know like that she's really like kind of to herself. And my wife is like that, so my wife was able to talk with her concerning that stuff. But like, have you had any like how do you help you how have your kids been transitioning into school and those social settings and being a teacher and being an educator, working in the school system, like how do you navigate those types of things?
Yeah, that's so crazy. My daughter had told me a story about like an interaction that she was having with some other like students, and I recorded it. I made a video about it. It's on TikTok and Instagram, and it was just like little girl drama. But my daughter's like truly a mixture of me and her mom. Like she's wildly confident. She's popular. She's super smart, and I just let her know that at the end of the day, you gotta make sure that you do what you need to do for you, even at a young age, like at 9. Like I try to help her in any way that I can with everything that I can. Like we do homework sometimes on FaceTime. Uh, I text her every single morning at 7 o'clock. Like I got a reminder on my phone. And just so happened, like the other day, she texted me and asked me, like, "Daddy, do you lie?" And I said, "Why you asking me that first?" But I didn't know how to really respond to that, Joan, because I don't really get a lot of like opportunities to really interact with my kids in those ways. It's just either through like text message or FaceTime. And I immediately screenshotted and sent it to my family group chat. I'm like, y'all, like, what do I say to Sue about do I lie? And like I said, my little brother, man, he is like one of my heroes. He told me, you just don't lie to her. And
Mm,
I thought that was like wildly powerful. And I'm like, bet. So I responded to her and I said, yeah, I lie sometimes, but why do you lie? And she was explaining to me that she lies because she don't want to get in trouble. And sometimes it is better for her to lie because she think it's the best solution. And I
mm,
said, well, that's not always the case. That's probably like never the case. Like the truth is always best. And make sure at the end of the day, like we don't lie to each other. And she said, okay, daddy, like I love you. And I said, I love you too. And like even like those little pockets of moments, I feel like go a long way for my daughter because she my firstborn.
mm,
And I was there like physically with her and for her for the early stages of her life, but I know she know like the work that I'm trying to do to make sure that we continue to have like a strong bond and relationship.
mm,
And that's really like some of the only things that I've dealt with like my daughter. Like my son, he don't really have a bunch of like situations that occur like that, except for he was like bad at daycare, and I had to like whoop him because he was on it. Because I
Yeah.
also take pride in like my kids being well behaved because I am in like education. I don't get how I would be able to like even say and do some of the things that I do in schools if my kids were fucking running around being bad as hell. So
Yeah.
I think they also have a underlying understanding of that.
Mm.
Even though they're so young, they know like daddy is in education. And my daughter asks me all the time if I could come work in her schools. And I'm like, yo, that's not how it work. Like, that's not how it work. But yeah.
No, that's real, man. That's super real, you know. And while we were saying lie, it got me thinking about one that rhymed with it, cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because um have your kids ever seen you cry?
Mm. I think Suhaila seen me cry a couple times,
Mm.
but it wasn't for nothing that I was like, yes, it was. Like my daughter seen me cry when my grandmom died
Mm.
because she was like around because it just happened recently. But I didn't really have a strong relationship with my grandma. And I was crying because I knew how it impacted my family. And just seeing like all of the people that you love so much go through like this situation, it makes you emotional. And I mean, at the end of the day, she's still my grandma, right? Even though I didn't have a super strong relationship with her, and I wasn't crying because I'm like, oh my God, it's my grandma, and I was crying because it's my family. I think my daughter did see me in that light, but I think that's one of the only times, to be honest. My son has probably never seen me cry. Yeah, so like really only that time.
And I asked that because I remember my daughter asked me, she said she saw me crying for the first time, and she was like, Daddy, I didn't know that parents cry.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty serious situation. My wife and I, we were homeless, man, back in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And her and my two youngest kids had to go up to Chicago with some of her family until we had got our stuff back together. And so when we were at the airport, and I'll just never forget it, man, just seeing them like, the uncertainty of everything. I'm like, damn, I might not ever see my wife ever again, bro. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
might not ever see my babies ever again. Like, once they leave right here and they get on this plane, bro, like anything could happen, literally.
Right.
And just the uncertainty. And I'm like, man, I'm finna miss my babies, man. And like, my babies were little at the time. Like, my youngest daughter was like a few months old. My son was probably like just turned one. He
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, damn, you know. Oh man, I remember they left and they went through that gate, bro, and I just couldn't hold it, man. And
The floodgates open for you. Yeah.
oh my, bro, listen, when I tell you I cried so much that night, man. Bro, I got to the point where it wasn't even any more tears that could come out, bro.
Right.
Like I cried from that point I left from them till we got like back in the car. Oh, I'm walking through the airport kind of like this, bro. Like I don't even want people to
Mm-hmm.
see this. I'm carrying my baby. She's like 3, and she just kept saying, "Daddy, why are you crying?" She's crying. We got in the car. We on the interstate. I'm still crying, bro. And I'm just like, damn, just feeling like a failure as a dad, failure as a husband, just going
Yeah.
through all of these emotions, man. And I'm just like, man, like, what is this, bro? Like, how? Like, why? Like, questioning myself, questioning God, questioning just everything, bro. And I remember a little after that, we talked about it. I talked
Mm-hmm.
with my daughter, and she was like, "Daddy, you remember that time I saw you crying?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember that." And we talked about it, and I just told her, people, daddy gets sad too.
Yeah.
When sad things happen in life, like your parents cry. A lot of times y'all might not see it, but yeah, daddy got a lot of times when he cry a lot. And I'm a crier, bro. Like I just
Yeah.
I like release that emotion. You know, like sometimes I'll be in the bathroom, in the shower or something, and I just let it out. You know, just everything that's going on in life, and just feeling overwhelmed at times. And once I get it out, I'm like, all right, I got that out. Like, all
Yeah.
right, chest up, let's get it. Like, let's go, man. Like, you got to keep going, bro. Like, you can't stop. You can't allow what happens in life to make, like, you're gonna let this take you out, man. You got to keep going, bro. Keep your
Yeah.
head up. And so yeah, man, like I just always thought that question was funny, and I had told my wife about it. I'm like, this girl seen me crying, and she said, Daddy, why?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that parents cry. I'm like, and
Right.
it was so
Yeah.
funny in the moment, but I was like, it's
Yeah, that should
crazy.
build character though.
Yeah, real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk, man. But how has your position affected the way that you raise your own children? Like being in the position that you are, like how does that affect the way that you parent your own? Like you take care of all these kids all day long. You're dealing with kids. Like and then when you have to deal with your own kids, like how does that affect you in that way?
I know my job got purpose. Like working
Mm,
with kids, I know there's a larger purpose to it. But it be times where I wish it was my kids that I was talking to.
mm,
I have times where like I've done everything that you could think of for like a kid. Like
mm,
I've taken a kid in for like him being too disrespectful to his parents. Like I was just at his baby shower this weekend and he only in the ninth grade.
mm,
I've had text messages over the summer about like some of my kids being shot,
mm,
and it take a toll
mm,
sometimes. And I always try to use like some of those lessons that I learned from the kids that I service to like have and talk with my own children. And it don't be like too high level for them because again, my son is 6 and my daughter is 9. But
yeah.
I always sometimes like I could vividly remember a couple times where I'm like, damn, I wish I could have like this conversation in this entirety, like with my daughter, talking to like some of the little girls that I've dealt with in the past. I just want to, and I know I can, but it's different from like having them sit next to you to have this conversation compared to them being in California or Houston or even Delaware. Like I told you when you was at the joint, like my kids aren't next to me,
Mm,
and that's tough in itself. And I feel like again, I still always want to be that light or that father figure that I didn't have, or even like that teacher that I didn't have for other kids. Cause I know that's why God put me here. And I feel like that's why God put me here. And I know it's a purpose. I have a purpose. So I always
mm,
try to fulfill that when I'm talking to kids, when I'm talking to my own kids, cause I gotta guide and lead them to the best of my ability. There's also like one of the foundational things like in my religion. Like I gotta teach my kids the way because I want for them what I want for myself. Like I want to be in paradise and I want them in paradise with me.
it's real, man. That's good. Because I was gonna also ask, like, do you ever experience like burnout with it?
Hell yeah. It be
Mm,
times where man, it be times where I'll be like, bro, I'm cooked. Like I'm so cooked. And especially this year, because a lot of the times it don't even be the kids, right? It
mm,
be the resistance that you get or that you met with for caring too much. Like
mm,
I give a damn. Like I care a lot. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. You know what I mean? And I take pride in that. Like I want people to see that a person that carries themselves the way that I do can also be emotional and have feelings.
mm,
And like I said, like I've taken a kid in, bro. Like I've been to baby showers. I've been to the hospital when things have gone wrong, like all of these different things. And when teachers or like administrators and all of that stuff be like, you doing too much, or
mm,
question why you doing a particular thing, is I turn around and ask like, why aren't you doing it? Like, you feel me? Like, why you
Mm.
not going to this basketball game? Why is not a bunch of people at this baby shower? Like, y'all all pride yourselves on it take a village to raise a kid. Well, they about to bring a kid in this world, no matter how you don't like it or not, about an age or whatever, they about to. And that mean you're not gonna care for them as much as you did when they was in the 8th grade, now that they in the 9th.
Mm.
Like that just like the world itself bothers me because I wish a lot of stuff was different.
Man, I met a young guy. So for my job, I'm a dad support specialist for this program, this fatherhood program, where we do home. It's like a home visiting program.
Mm-hmm.
So at one of the career fairs a couple weeks ago, I met a young man, uh, 17-year-old, 11th grader, and he just had a child, like he has like a month-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I'm just kind of going there to talk about, you know, careers and talk with these kids about that type of stuff. And he came over to my table because my table is Teen Dad. That's the job name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm like, I'm talking with him about all this other stuff. And then he was like, well, the real reason I came over to your table is I'm a dad. And I was like, a dad? He was like, yeah. I'm like, come on, man. You for real? He's like, yeah, man. Like, it's a month-year-old. And so we went to talking about that, and I'm like, okay, wow, it's wild, and I got his information, and I brought him in. So he's like one of the people on my caseload. But just seeing, like, it kind of brought that reality. Of course, it's like that, but to like see the young man just come up to me, I was almost surprised. I was like, kind of caught off guard. Like I was not expecting that morning. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's real stuff out here, man. These students are dealing with so many things, and he's like, kind of like he really don't see the value in school. He want to just kind of go out and
Mm-hmm.
get some money now. And I'm like, I feel you. But I'm like, I do think at least get your GED, bro. Get something.
Yeah. Get
Um,
something.
get something, man. So yeah, it's dealing with this type of stuff. So it's like I feel like if I was in a position like you, I know I would experience the burnout because
Yeah. Because
I
you
just
would feel like it's so much more to be done, and people are like just turning a blind eye to it, and that's where my burnout comes from. I'd be like, yo, we could be in such a better place if we
a
all gave that much more. Like we
little
gave a
bit
damn that
more.
much more. That's where my burnout be coming from, though.
Jeez, wow, that's real. Um, I know we had talked about that time. You were telling me how your children live in different places.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to another dad in a situation like that? And I always call it like in long distance relationships with their children.
Yeah.
Like what advice would you give to another dad in a long distance relationship on being able to, be a dad, because I know it's like we talked about at the play, like my version of being a dad is one thing. Your
Mm-hmm.
version of being a dad is a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've run into, just through doing my podcast, I've run into a lot of other guys that have those situations. And what advice would you give them on keeping in contact with them, keeping them engaged, and just all the dad stuff? Like what advice would you have for another dad in that situation?
Always keep your kids at the top of mind whenever anything is going on, and it's tough, man. Like I miss my kids every
Yeah.
day, and you gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep pushing. And I always tell myself, like I told myself this like at the beginning of like when like stuff started to transition with like my children and stuff, but like I always got faith that shit gonna get better. You feel
Mm.
me? Like I used to tell my mom and like some other people that like my kids gotta grow up, God willing, and I'm gonna have like the tough conversations that's necessary to have with them about if they ever asked me like, Daddy, why wasn't you around as much as we would like, or why wasn't this thing that, or like, why do my friends got 2-parent households and I don't? Like, I'm ready to engage in like those conversations because I know it's necessary, and I know it's going to probably come a time where it is. And I always think about that, like, make sure you keep doing everything that you're doing with them at the forefront, so that way when you do have this conversation, you could let them know, and honestly, you could let them know that like everything that I was doing was for you, everything that I was doing was for us, and I
Sure.
still live by that. Like, everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to get to a point where my kids will always have a place to come to. I want to get to a point where my kids will be able to like always lean on me for whatever they need, like all of that shit. Like, you got to make sure that you keep them at the top of your mind whenever you're doing a thing, and
Sure.
everything else will fall in its place.
I love that, man. Love that. How do I want to? So if you, how do you stay motivated? Like, we all have all this stuff going on daily, man. Work, um, relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing that I found, man, and I've been trying to get things back. A couple of years ago, I started to feel like since I had become a husband and I got married early, like I got married at like 23.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 35 right now. Like this in May, I'll be married for like 12 years.
That's a blessing.
And at that 10th year, I started to feel like, you know, everybody knows me. Like I'm always so focused on being a husband. I'm so focused on being a father. I'm focused on being this community leader,
Mm-hmm.
focused on like all this stuff, doing a podcast and being this friend to people and just everything. And like honestly, I felt like I had lost myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
felt like I'm not me. Like, how do you balance all of that and keep yourself? I'm a little older than you, but you're at 29 now. And it was like at maybe 30 or 31 when I started to feel like that. Like, what am I doing for me? Like, what am I like I wasn't playing basketball as much as I used to. And um it's like I felt like I had lost my hobbies, like
Yeah.
because I was always so focused on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I had lost me. Like, how do you balance all of that and keep yourself, like, of course, we got to worry about the other stuff, but like sometimes, as men, we lose ourselves. And the women talk about it a lot, and I
Yeah.
understand from a woman's standpoint, like when they have children, they lose themselves. But I was
Mm-hmm.
telling my wife at the time, I'm like, as men, we lose ourselves too.
Yeah.
How do you combat that and keep your sanity, deal with everything that's in here and just everything, man. Like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's crazy that you said it like that, because it's like the opposite for me.
mm,
Like, I want now to be the time where I focus on my marriage, I focus on kids and stuff like that. Like, I don't
mm,
want nothing more, gang, than to be able to like have a kid. I mean, I wish I could do it with my current kids, but I don't want nothing more than to have a kid and to be able to wake up with them,
mm,
to take them to school and stuff like that. Like, I say this like all the time whenever like these type of questions come up, because I've been like trying to get that for a long ass time,
yeah,
for a long time, because I feel like this is now my opportunity to show people like the type of dad that I really want to be, or like show people like, yo, this is the type of like marriage and husband that I really want to be. And balancing that is hard in itself, because a lot of people don't know or have a full understanding of where I came from. Like, I used to be a nut ass nigga, man. I used to
yeah,
be a clown to like other people, but to myself, like I always will hold myself to a high regard because I was cool, I was fly, I was this, I was that, I got chicks, I got money, but and like I knew in my heart of hearts, like I was a fucking weirdo. And now, like I'm trying to do a lot of the work to like change that mantra within myself, because a lot of people still don't see me like that. Like if you have a conversation with somebody about me, they wouldn't tell you the first thing is that I'm a clown. They wouldn't tell you that he's a bad father for real, for real. But I know I want more for myself in those aspects. Like I want to be able to have those tough conversations with my kids about the birds and the bees, about in my religion, like at a certain point as a female, like you are now held accountable for your sins and your actions. At 7, as a boy in our religion, you are now held accountable and things like that for your actions. But I want us to be under the same roof. Like I've been like searching and fighting and scratching and clawing for, in our religion it's called a halal situation, where I'm married and I have a kid with my wife and I raised them to be Muslim and I raised them to be the best person that I can raise them to be. And I didn't want to do those things at 23. Like I wanted to be outside, I wanted to be drinking, smoking, dealing with a bunch of different women and stuff like that. But I want to say my switch flipped after my for real after my first divorce, because I've been married a couple times. In my religion, I try to like stay married, but I've been like just trying to do like those things like day in and day out, and I fail sometimes. Like I ain't even gonna lie, like I come up short a lot of times. And I just made a tweet about this like 2 days ago. Like I just gotta get it right one time.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it right one time, and that should be it's tough, gang. Shit tough.
No, that's real. And when you say that, bro, like that, man, listen to me, boy. When I tell you, I feel you, I feel you, I feel you. You know, and it's rough, man. Like I say, you know, I've been in this, and I think it's sometimes I take it for granted. I think,
Yeah.
you know, situation that I'm in, um, being with my wife for as long as I've been. I think, man, bro, I've been with this woman since I was 20 years old, bro. She was 18. And it's like, bro, we finna be 35 and 33 this year, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and but having that stability, having all of my children in the same house with me, at times I do think I take it for granted
Yeah, I
that
would kill for that shit, cuz I would kill for that shit.
real talk, real talk, man. And that's something that I, you know, because that's something it be just times, bro. Like I'm like, man, there's so much stuff. It's like I feel like it's always something. It's just like, can I have some time to just be me some days? Like I don't want to be, you know, responsible, but I know that's where I am. It's like this is what you do, bro. Like you got 3 kids looking at you, bro. You got a wife to make sure you looking at you like you got to be straight. Like all these people in the community that look to you like you are this person. And at times, bro, it's heavy, honestly, bro. It gets so heavy, you know, feeling like, and I think I started to resent the fact that I did that because then I was in ministry for a long time also. Like I was like an
Mm-hmm.
assistant pastor at my church, and I left my church in 2020. And ever since I left my church, you know, it was just a lot of reasons I left. And I almost started to resent what I had become, in all honesty. And this is something that sometimes I don't even know how to talk to people about it because I'm like, people
Mm-hmm.
just look at
No,
me like, oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'm like one of those people in my community too, and in my schools, and I be sitting back sometimes like, where the fuck my kids? Like, where my kids?
yeah, real talk.
And I'm doing all of this stuff for all these different people, and I know I'm trying to do it for my kids, but I just don't. It just don't feel all the way right. It's like that imposter syndrome.
Somebody told me, man, this was 2 years ago, man. I was talking with one of the whatever they're called. after I had graduated. She's like my career something, whatever she was, after I had got my degree. And I was just telling her all this stuff, man. And she was like, just listening to me. And then she was like, you know what, Anthony? I think you have imposter syndrome. And I was like, what's that? And she
Yeah.
went breaking it down to me, bro. And it was just like explaining me to a T. And I'm like, wow, like I have never heard of this in my life, but it explains me so perfectly. And I think like I doubt myself a lot. Like I feel like as much as people look at me as this leader and this all that, some days I'm like, bro, like who am I? Like literally,
Right.
like I don't know, like man, I'm out here trying to make it like everybody else. Like
Real
seriously.
shit.
And sometimes I don't even want that. Like sometimes people in my family, they want, I go to family functions, they want me to pray. I don't want to pray. No, I don't want to do none of that. Like, I just want to be a normal person. Like, let me just come to the family reunion. Let me just chill. I want to vibe out like everybody else. I don't want the responsibility to. And at times, bro, it's heavy. And I'm like, I don't want this, bro. Like, I don't want people to be looking at me, people texting my phone, man, bro, I got so and so going on. And I be wanting to tell people, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Like I got it too. Like, and right now I'm going through it worse than what you going through it, bro.
You don't got
Like,
no idea.
man, and honestly, I feel like sometimes I ain't got nobody to talk to about the stuff. Like a couple months ago, man, I'm at my dog house, man, and I just told him, I'm like, bro, like I've been struggling, bro. Like I just been struggling. I've been struggling big time, bro. Like, and I've been struggling ever since. Like, I've been struggling with anger, resentment, feeling like, just everything that I went through all those years just in my church. And like, bro, like I'm struggling, bro. Like I'm struggling with trusting people. I'm struggling. And at times I feel like I don't know who, like I can't talk with people about it because it's like, I feel like people give you a lot of cliche stuff, and that's why I
Yeah.
felt a lot of times like what you were saying the other day, on your story, like, like I don't want to go to a therapist, and it's just like I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of
I don't
people
want to be
all these
dissected all the
cliche
time.
things, bro.
Yeah.
And I honestly, bro, and I went through that like last year. I finally did this therapy thing on my phone that my job offered when I was at Walmart. And bro, when I tell you the therapist was, man, I'm trying to talk to this man. The stuff he was saying, I'm like, bro, I already know that. Like,
Yeah. Like,
and it was just, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like, bro, you ain't, man, it's just the stuff he was saying. I'm like, you ain't hearing me, bro. Like what you're telling me, bro, I've been knew that stuff like just 8 years ago, bro. Like you ain't, and I just stopped doing it, bro, because I felt like, shoot, maybe I can be his therapist.
Yeah.
Who know, you wouldn't, and the guy I was talking with, I felt like he didn't understand my situation because you ain't in my shoes, bro. Like you
Right.
don't know, you don't get the half of what I'm
And
dealing
yeah, that's really where I was going at it when I was talking about the stuff that I was talking about when I said I don't want to be dissected all the time because at the end of the
with.
day, every human being is operating their own universe. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, we might have similar stories, but our story, like you have no idea what I'm going through.
Mhm.
And I'll just be wanting to sometimes just let out what I'm going through and just leave it at that.
Straight
Because I
up.
also do my own psychoanalyzation on myself.
Yeah,
And I
bro.
and I know like some of the stuff that I do is wrong. Some of the stuff, the reason why I'm doing it, but at the end of the day, I also know like my shit don't stink. I mean, I know my shit stink. So whenever somebody trying to tell me I should do this, that, and a third, like sometimes they'll be like, yo, bro, I done did that 7 times, gang.
For real.
Like you're not giving me, like how you said, you're not giving me nothing different. And you don't know what I'm going through. You have no idea. We might have similar situations, like we might be from the same place, we might be black and brown, but my shoes are completely different from yours. because God made us all different.
Oh,
Everybody in Salam, we call it our mizan. It's like your book of good deeds and all that stuff. Everybody mizan is their mizan, and everybody's situation is different. We could relate, but we shouldn't compare. Comparing trauma just never was like something that I like rock with.
oh, that's real, man. Yeah, that's some deep stuff, man. You know, and I feel like honestly, people don't know how to. When you're in a leadership position, a lot of people don't know how to minister to the needs of leaders, and that's just the truth. Like
Facts.
when you're in these positions like this, bro, many people people just can't even fathom. Like I was talking with one of my young boys one day, and I kind of threw a couple things out there, and he was like, "Damn, bro, why you ain't never tell me that?" And I'm like, "Why should I?
Yeah.
What you help me with, bro?" Like, and I'm just like, and that's me just being honest. Like, bro, I wouldn't even put all this on you like that.
Right.
Like, I respect you too much to even put all of what I got on you like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't gonna do you like that. But I'm just kind of sharing a couple of things so you know, like, I'm going through it right now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't that I'm ignoring you. I just got things that I'm dealing with myself. And I
Right.
know you're not necessarily equipped to help me with what I have going on. And I don't look to you for that. And that's cool. Like,
Right.
I don't need you to do that. Just hear me out sometimes. Like, sometimes I need somebody to talk to, bro.
Yeah. Just listen, gang. I don't want you to say nothing to me. I just want to be able to talk.
Real talk, bro. Man, man, little boy, listen, I can go on that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
That's a whole other thing, man. But you know, I just want to encourage you, man. Keep on going, bro. Like keep on pushing in with all of that because, you know, like you say, I feel like we have our answers. A lot of
Yeah.
times we know exactly what we need to do. It's just sometimes we need somebody to hear us so that
Mm-hmm.
we can get it off our chest so that once we get it off our chest, it's like you getting that weight off of you. Once you get that
Mm-hmm.
weight off, now you can walk a little further,
Yeah.
you know. So
Always.
sometimes
That's why I said like I was so excited for this, John, because I'm trying to be more open again about like how I feel about particular things. And I know in our community, a lot of people don't lean on other men to have conversations about this particular stuff. And I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna use this as another like opportunity to show people that like, yo, you could talk to people, like you could talk, like men could talk to men about their situations. Cause like I said, we all don't walk the same situation, but we have similarities in the things that we're going through. And maybe some of the things that you're going through can benefit me and how you dealing with them and vice versa.
straight
And
up,
yeah, man, like I was just so excited for this, John.
that's real, man. I got one more for you. If you can, knowing everything that you know now, being the 29-year-old Shakoor, what advice would you give the 18-year-old version of yourself if you could sit down like you and I are talking right now and just say anything to him? What would you tell him?
Keep a law first
Mm,
and just keep going.
mm,
Like it's gonna be times in your 20s, cuz where you don't want to.
mm,
Like real life times where you don't want to.
mm,
But no matter what, dog, keep going. Cause God don't put you through nothing that you can't handle.
mm. Real talk.
And I really live by that. Like I really live by that. Cause I thank my God for the good and the bad. Like
Mm,
I'm thankful to be able to go through the shit that I'm going through. Like I lost one of my brothers and he was 26. Like his time is done. Like
mm,
I'm still grateful to be able to like worship my Lord. I'm still grateful to be able to have a wife. I'm still grateful to have my kids for whatever the situation that it is. I'm grateful, and I'm able to have the tribulations that I've been through,
Mm.
where some people don't get those opportunities. Some people don't get to see 29. Don't ever try to remove yourself from that. Don't ever think that shit not gonna get better, because it is. Like I said, you only gotta get it right one time. You only gotta get it right one time. And whatever God is putting you through, they all tests. Because again, in my religion, like everything that we do is an act of worship. All the way down to praying, how we talk to our moms, how we eat, how we go to the bathroom. Everything is an act of worship.
Mm.
And as long as you, like I said at the beginning, keep a law first, you're gonna be all right.
Mm.
You're gonna be all
Mm.
right.
But that's that real there, man. That's real. And that's advice a lot of us can take right
Yeah,
now. So if any dads out there listening, man, y'all take that one to heart.
for sure.
Take that one to heart, man, and really dig in. I'm a big believer, man, that, we follow that law, we good, man. We're good. Everything, we're gonna still have the tribulations. We're gonna have all that because all that's a part of it. Uh,
Thanks.
I know in the Bible it talks about how tribulations build your character,
Yeah,
and if you're able to persevere and withstand that stuff, that's how you build character. When the
absolutely.
tribulations come and you persevere, that's where character is built. Character is not built in the good times. Character is built in the middle of tribulation.
Hell yeah.
Man, that's one, man. And that speaks to me right now. That you just brought that back to my mind. And man, I needed to hear that tonight.
Yeah,
Because
me
sometimes
too.
just lose track of it sometimes, man. When you're in the midst of all that, you just feel like, man, stuff ain't gonna never get better, bro. It's
Right.
just like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? And that just
Mm-hmm.
brought back to my mind that, man, in the middle of this, you always, rejoice when you have tribulation, rejoice when you
Yeah.
have trial, you know, because you know that this is your opportunity to grow and become better. Like he's giving you the opportunity to grow in this moment. It's
Mm-hmm.
like how they talk about a seed. When a seed is planted,
Mm-hmm.
uh when it's buried, the seed has to first die in order for it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bury that seed and you drown it, basically, when you water it, that's that seed drowning and dying. But
Mm-hmm.
it's necessary for it to die and to go through that process to become what we see when it comes out of that ground as
Right.
this beautiful thing that's producing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And even in my
man,
religion, I think I don't want to misspeak because we should never do that. But I think like every time like you cry, some of your sins are forgiven. And I
mm,
really gotta, I just, you know what I mean? Like that'd be necessary.
mm,
That'd be necessary.
it's real.
Because like I said, I've done some nut shit, some
Man,
reckless shit.
you ain't alone.
Mm-hmm.
You are not alone, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real, man. But yeah, that's all I have for you, man. That this here was good, man. I needed this. Man, I had a talk. I was a guest on a podcast yesterday with these
Mm-hmm.
three other guys, and man, it was food to my soul, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I needed it so much, and then to come back tonight with another one. I need, especially with everything that I've been going through lately, going through in my
Yeah.
marriage.
Yo, me
You
too.
know, man, bro, listen to me. It's been real. It's been
Mm-hmm.
real. And yesterday, after I got off the podcast with them, I'm like, I'm tripping, bro. This stuff's small, it's little stuff, honestly, and it's me. Like, and now coming back tonight and having this conversation, it's like giving me what I need to push forward, to take what
Mm-hmm.
I've had these last 2 nights. Just go forward and just focus. Get my recalibrate my brain, recalibrate my spirit, and just go back. Just get back into it. Get back in the fight. Keep on fighting, man. But yeah, man, I definitely enjoyed you, bro. I appreciate you, man, for spending this time with me. We definitely got to stay locked in, man.
No, for sure.
I need other brothers in my corner like this.
Absolutely, definitely. If you want to do this again, let me know. I'm definitely open to it. And like you said, we definitely got to keep in touch because I be needing to talk to more brothers. Like
So
I don't want to talk to nobody but like us.
real talk, man. When I get off, I'm gonna send you my number. So man, text me anytime, bro. Text me, call me. My phone always on, bro. So I make myself available for brothers, man. And sometimes I need it too, bro. I need
Okay.
that. So you know, for sure, I'm here for you, bro. And like I said, I appreciate you for coming on. But for all the listeners out there, man, y'all continue to stay tuned. I hope that anybody listen to this, I don't care if you just got one thing out of this, man. If you got that one thing, let that one thing be what keeps you, man, and keeps you encouraged. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just praying that we said something on tonight that will help someone, because
For
we
sure.
all going through collectively. So that's what this podcast is for, to be able to keep the brothers uplifted, man. And that's what we're gonna continue to do at Dad Can We Talk. Y'all go to dadcanwetalk.com to stream this episode and all other episodes. Next month, y'all be looking forward to the Dad Walk. I will be doing that March 18th. It'll be a Sunday at 10 a.m. We're gonna walk through the neighborhood. We're gonna come back to the park, and man, we gonna chill out, man. We're gonna fellowship for a little while. So y'all be looking forward to more information about that. And tell the people where they can find you at, man, before we get up out of here.
No, for sure. You can find me on TikTok at Coorwood, KOORWOOD, or just type in Woodson. And on Instagram, you can find me at s.woodson with two N's at the end, two N's at the end. Or like a hashtag Mr. Woodson. I'll come up somewhere somehow because I'm Mr. Woodson.
Yeah, believe it, man. Y'all go find my dog, Mr. Woodson, on all social media platforms. Make sure y'all follow him. I'm telling y'all, man, it's so free. It's so
Mm-hmm.
free to do that. It's easy, man.
Yep.
Go hit
That
that
support goes a long way.
support goes so far, man. And all we need is us. It's easy. So y'all go do that. Y'all go follow Dad Can We Talk on all platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Dad, Facebook at Dad Can We Talk, YouTube. It's everywhere, man. And stay tuned on the website. Also, everything is there. So we're gonna go ahead and get on up out of here for the night, man. Hey, bro, you have a good night. And I'm gonna see you.
All right, gang, you be easy.